We'll see.
And we're live.
Hello, and today is the 25th of the 1st, 2018, and you're listening to Let's Drone Out, and you are joined by Andrew/Frank.
Good evening.
Is it Frank/Andrew or Andrew/Frank? I never
It doesn't
remember.
really. They're both. It's fine.
And we are joined by Andy RC.
Hello.
We're joined by tonight's guest, Garry Kent. Is it Frank/Andrew or Andrew/?
Hey, what's up, Jack?
Yo, how you doing, man?
I'm good, thanks.
And we are joined by Barry White.
Hello.
Is it me you're looking for? Did he have any 80s tunes, or was he dead by then?
I have no idea.
Asking the editor. I might have to send him the link. Hang on. But
Anyway, back to current day.
Okay. We'd just like to thank our lovely new 1,000 subscribers, and we'd like to thank the person that gave them to us, which is a combination of mainly Joshua Bardwell and Oscar Lang. And we'd also like to thank our Patreons and our supporters and listeners.
And everyone who subscribed to us and
Yes.
Now sitting in the chat. Thank you, Hazard, for the congratulations. We're very grateful for having made the cut.
Yeah.
And I'd personally like to thank Mikey Dread as well for sending me lots of carbon fibre.
What you got there, Jack?
Spare bottom and top plates. So thank you.
Nice.
I love our listeners. They are very kind and supportive.
Apart from the ones.
Hidden in the background is the setup for the Thursday night show, and there's also the editor
Hiding away in the shadows.
or the bailiff. I think he's come to take the equipment away. Yeah, so after this show, we'll be doing the Thursday night show. So I don't know whether you guys want to hop on over there. We will post up the link in a bit. So, Tony, you got us this guest tonight. Do you want to chat to him? Tell us who he is, what he does?
Yeah, well, thanks for what was this called, Jack? Tony's man crush, Garry Kent. Thanks for that.
He is very sexy. And I wondered why you so desperately wanted him on. Like, I mean, he's a good laugh. I've chatted to him before at the Mini Air Show 2. Was that right?
I don't know whether it was 1 or 2. I think, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the second
That
one.
would have been the second one. Yeah. It was a good event. Good
So,
show.
So, like, I foolishly, like, sorry if I'm going to tread on a massive landmine, but I went to type in X-Blades, and then I thought, better check how I spell X-Blades in case the kids spell it differently, because I'm not down with the kids. And then I look, and then you're spelling it Next-Blades. What is that about?
What happened?
So I missed that last bit. You broke up a little bit.
Next-Blades, not X-Blades?
Yeah, so our title sponsor is a company called Nex. So it's the Next X Blades.
So it changed.
So we're still X Blades, but we're just sponsored by a company called Nex. So instead of, whereas previously it was Tornado X Blades, now it's Nex X Blades.
Okay.
Or Nex Blades is the easiest way to say it. So
that sounds a lot easier.
So the boy band didn't break up.
No, we're still together. Robbie's still here.
Aww.
I mean, Benny's still here. Wait, hold on.
How many is there of you guys? About 100, isn't
it? To be honest with you, I have no idea now. There's been so many changes recently because we've been trying to get to so many different events and to try and move pilots around the world is kind of expensive. So I think what it is that we've been taking on pilots from as many different locations as possible so that we can have representation at all the major events around the world. So yeah, we've got quite a few pilots, but they're spread out across different countries so that we can get a good representation for the team and for Next.
Yeah, there's quite a few, isn't there?
So
what-
solid crew. That's how I compared it to.
I think
So solid
crew
crew.
got less people in, Jack.
I just brushed my hair there for you, Tony.
Oh, thanks.
So have you managed to avoid winter weather and been able to go to any international events over the winter?
Not really over this winter. No, I'm kind of in that difficult position where I've used up all my annual leave for the year. So I did a whole bunch of events in the first 8 months of the year, and now the last 4 months I've literally got no holiday. So I can't really go anywhere unless it's for a weekend. So there's Sebring is on. Well, there was a big event in Las Vegas for the IDRA a few days ago. I think Mac Pashwold and Drobot Racer and who else was out there? Young Rock Sun were out in Vegas representing Next Blades. And now that I think they're in Sebring. So those are two events that I can't get to without taking time off. So yeah, I'm still in the UK in this wonderful weather that we're experiencing
mate,
at the moment.
sucks the weather, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can say that again.
Yeah, the reason why we got you on is because you are in fast, really fast, like lightning speed. How do you? Were you just naturally like that as soon as they put the transmitter in your hand, or
Yeah, give away your secrets, please.
How did you get into it? Yeah, that's a good point.
we need some background.
Oh man, I've told this story so many times. It's like,
All right,
you know when you tell a story, so no, just
Come on, say it. Tell
so,
again.
well, I started about the same time as Tony. Actually, I think we started within a month of each other.
Yeah.
But why is Tony so crap compared to you?
Rubbish. I've seen Tony fly. He's a good pilot.
Thanks, man.
Oh.
Not as good, but
He should be faster. He's vegan. He has way more protein than you. Oh, mind you might be using all your protein up on that wife of yours. Mind you, if you have another kid, you'll have paternity leave.
Jack, let's try to keep this nice tonight, please.
I can definitely get away with that. Sorry, that one was Miss Dynamite.
So I think in a few months' time, both me and Tony we're coming up for like 3 years in the hobby, right?
Yeah, man, that makes me 4 years, man. I feel so old.
Yes, everything's changed so quickly, right?
It's not actually 3 years at flying, though, is it? It's 3 years time, but you're probably only on the sticks for I don't know,
a month.
Yeah,
with this weather.
It is weather.
Yeah, with this weather, definitely. But yeah, so like 3 years ago, I set myself a goal of like spending 20 hours on something different, like something that I'd never done before. And my mate showed me that like before I set that goal, my mate had shown me the French video of the guys flying through the forest. You know, the one everyone knows.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that. Let's give it a go. So start off with a Hubston, and then next thing you know, you're on.
I started on Hubston as well.
You're on Banggood trying to order everything to become like a FPV pilot. So yeah,
Rumor has it
no comply. The French guy, sorry.
Rumor has it that you to train yourself, you have a whole set of thumb training equipment.
I'm going to pass that one off on Matthew Evans, because he has every time I show up at a race event, he's got some kind of weights or some kind of hand finger squeezing device that he gives to me and says, "Come on, Gary, I want a picture of you with this." So yeah, there's been various pictures of me lifting things with my thumbs and people just joking about it. So
Are you a thumb flyer or a pincher? I can't remember.
well, I started off thumbs for like the first few months, and then we were in the car park one night and it was bloody freezing and I could not feel my thumbs. I couldn't feel the sticks or anything. So I was like, right, I'm going to try and put both fingers on there. and see if I can get a bit more like stick feel. So from there, I guess I kind of hybrid pinch, but mainly on the throttle stick, I'm mainly just with my thumb, but with my finger on the top to just rest on the stick, the side of the stick. But on the pitch and roll, I'm definitely a pincher.
Do you have like do you have to do stuff before you sit down? And do you have to sit down while flying, or can you stand up while flying? Because I hate standing up.
I can stand up and fly, but I wouldn't stand up and race. No way. It's so much more comfortable to sit down, and I end up doing if I stand up, I end up doing this thing where I like lean forward, and you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
do you still get nervous before races?
Pardon?
Do you still get nervous before races?
Well, to be honest, I feels like I haven't raced in ages. So I think if I was to go and race at an event now, I probably would be quite nervous. But when you're in the middle of the season and you just turn up for it's just another race, you know. And you fly so often, you race so often, it just becomes normal. You don't really feel. I mean, you obviously when you're in the final, you feel the pressure, your heart's pounding and stuff, and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's just another day's flying. You don't. I try not to treat it as if it's a major treat as if it's a major event or anything. Just I'm there to have fun and just enjoy the flight. You just got to remember why you got into the hobby, and you just enjoy every moment of it, because you never know what's around the corner.
Yeah, you could lose your thumbs in a accident
or have another child.
Well, the sport's in such an early stage. You just don't know what's going to happen from 1 year to the next. So just trying to enjoy every minute and just love the flying, really. So
where's been your best or favorite place to fly, or favorite event?
Oh, my favorite event by far was the two DCL events back to back in Brussels. It was, that whole weekend was absolutely incredible. The location was great, like flying in the middle of a city. We managed to win both days, which kind of, we were right at the bottom of the table before that. I think, well, we were close to the bottom of the table before that event, and we won both days, which kind of brought us back into contention to win the season. So it was a really, really good weekend. And then some of the guys on the team had birthdays, so we celebrated that, and yeah, it was just a fantastic weekend. So
didn't the celebrations hinder your next day? Aren't you supposed to be like football players now? Like
they
do me, Jack, when I've had a drink. I can never fly.
No. DCL have a really strict policy that there's no drinking before you're flying. They have never seen anybody breathalyzed, but they do have one to breathalyze you if they suspect something. So there was no real drinking before the racing or during the racing even.
Wow.
Holy moly.
I don't think I could do that.
Did you have to angle your headlights and stuff? like in France?
No, those guys
that track
do such
actually
a good
looked
job.
nice.
Yeah, they do a really good job. I mean, they really take it seriously, and like all their processes and stuff are, as far as I'm concerned, they're second to none, because they do a fantastic job, and they make sure everyone's within the guidelines of the quad specifications for sure. Like everyone's flying something that's within regulation. So yeah, I really got a lot of respect for what they've done in terms of their processes and stuff to get people to fly. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but yeah, this year they really did improve, and they've done a good job. So big respect for the DCL guys.
Yeah.
Did you attend Dubai as well?
No, that Dubai happened not long after I started flying, to be honest with you. It was probably within, I don't know, 4 or 5 months of me starting to fly.
Yeah.
I remember that you we went to, everything used to be down south, didn't it? All the events used to be down south. And I remember you coming to Cowdrey Park.
Yeah, Cowdrey Park. That was my first ever event.
Yeah, and when you raced, everyone just went, "What the F? How? Who is this guy?" That was, you were just so fast that day, and then
You
For
make
anyone who
you
hasn't
Richard.
seen Gary fly, I mean, you're particularly known for being very, very regular and just, you know, whereas like there was always the contrast between you and Luke of Luke going flat out but sort of being right on the edge of everything, and you're just you know exactly where you're going and just being dead on the racing line all the time.
Yeah, well,
always,
I think Luke's style has definitely changed a lot since since the early days of flying. I mean, he's super smooth now. I mean, you can't. I completely admire how he's changed, how he's managed to change his style, and he is absolutely unbelievable to watch now. I mean, sometimes I saw when we were in the States this year. We were in where was the event? The International Open, and I think everybody who was watching his video feed when he set the fastest lap was in absolute awe of the speed and just how smoothly and how easy it made it look. So, yeah, I've massive respect for him. It's great to be on the team with him, and like I say, he's changed his style of flying so dramatically from the beginning. Yeah, it's really been something amazing to see.
He is pretty incredible, isn't he? I mean, he can go from racing to freestyle, and his freestyle is just as amazing as his racing.
Yeah. I don't think he really gets the respect he deserves as a freestyle pilot.
No, I don't.
think he's very precise in the way that he flies. And like for me personally, I can see that. I can see how people like the kind of flamboyant FPV. Freestyle flying, but I really like his style because, like I say, you do know that he's trying to do exactly what he does. It's very, like I say, it's very precise, and I really like that.
I do. He's like, yeah. There's a word for it. You know where you know where you are in space and time. You know, like
Spatial awareness.
Yeah, trampolinists have it when they're all upside down and doing all that stuff. They just know exactly where they are at all times. He must have that.
He's got a gyro built into him.
Yeah, pretty much.
how long has he got until he's got to watch his back for baby Kent?
Well, I don't think too long. No, he's my little boy's doing really well. I don't think he's going to be flying anytime soon. He's just enjoying every minute.
You're not like waving a quad at him and being like, "This is fun."
Well, he does look at my quads, and normally if he's grabbing something, he'll grab it and he'll just push it off the side, or it goes on the floor really quickly. But as soon as he sees my quad, he knows that that's daddy's those are daddy's toys, and I have to be really gentle with them. And you can see him like really trying to touch them gently. He is so funny to watch.
That's cute.
I'm loving having the editor here. He's like, he's correcting Tony live on air. He's like, trapeze eyes.
Thanks. And I'm getting points for not swearing, so he doesn't have to edit.
I do get phone calls, and he's just like, he thinks the Earth's what? And I'm like, yeah, I know. And it's like,
you know, it's one big troll.
Stop trying to act all cool in front of Gary.
Yes. My man crush.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Lovely.
I haven't seen anything, Gary. Have you had a go with any tiny whoops or anything, or are you just very much like the mini quad size?
I have had a go on a tiny whoop. It's, to be honest, I can appreciate them. If it's the same with sims as well. Like I can play a sim for a little while, but you know what? Even if it's raining, I'll just go and find somewhere underneath the trees, or I'll go inside and fly my real quad. I just can't get on. I played so much. I did play a lot of sim in the beginning when I was learning to fly, but now I just want to fly my real quad. I don't want to fly something tiny around the house. That doesn't really appeal to me. I just want to go out into the forest or somewhere and set up a track and just that's what I really enjoy. So I just kind of stick to what I like.
No freestyling then.
Well, no, not really. Although there's a lot more freestyle elements coming to the tracks nowadays. So you can't be too complacent. Really, you got to do a little bit of freestyle, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you got your air
Really-
gates now, ain't you?
gravity gates, and
Gravity gates, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not even flown one of them yet.
Yeah, they're quite good. I really like them. The first time I actually did it properly was, well, we set up a small one in the field that we normally fly in the summer. But the first kind of event that we did with a proper gravity gate was MotoGP International Open, and it was actually huge. The it must have been about 3 meters tall by about, I don't know how, I don't even know, want to guess how wide it was. Probably the square to drop down through was probably about 2 meters. But the way the track worked is that you kind of went up through two gates, and then you had quite a distance to travel before you went inverted and dropped down through the gate. And it worked really well. I really enjoyed it, actually. I haven't. They did have another track, because there was like 7 tracks at that event, and they had
Wow.
a spec class track that had a gravity gate as well. But that was better, because instead of just going in from the top and out back the way you came, you kind of in through the top and then came out the side, so you kind of like corkscrew down through it. That was really nice. That was, you know what, that was probably one of the best tracks I've flown all year, is the MotoGP spec class track. It was so much fun. It was really technical, but when you got it down, it just felt so good to fly.
Have you ever
big
got lost on a
circle.
course?
Lost.
That's such a dig at me. Water. Like, I'm literally the James May of racing, if you're wondering what that's about.
Yeah, you went backwards, Jack, on the last top.
Yeah. I don't care. Like, I don't.
That's why you need the white cones. The white cones are like a godsend. You just follow them. There's no messing up the track, because you just following the cones.
Yeah, I noticed your videos. You seem to place your cones like right next to each other. There's no big gaps. You seem to have one cone, one cone, one cone, one cone. And then when I
Yeah,
watch
well,
other people's videos, it's like cone, 2, 3 steps, cone, 2, 3 steps, cone. But whenever I watch your guys' videos, you always seem to have them really close. Is there
well, there's a few of us that fly, and we've all got probably a set of like 50 to 100. So we turn up to the field and we've got like 200 cones. So
Yeah.
it's not like we have to hold back or anything. We can just chuck them down. And then I tell you what is a godsend is a cone collector. Oh my
I
god,
know, I
you
love
save your
them.
back so much.
Yeah.
Oh, when you don't have that thing, and you got to pick them up at the end of the day, oh, it's the worst job in the world.
Best £10 I ever spent on that cone picker upper.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. So what rigs you flying now, and how many have you got? Because I used to turn up to races like with one quad in the early days, and just hope everything was all right. And then I see people like 2 or 3, and now I see people turning up with like 5 quads.
Well, I don't quite have 5 race rigs. I've got 3. I got 3 race rigs, and I've got 1 setup that I'm testing 6S with.
Okay.
But really, I've been flying pretty much the same setup for well over a year now. I just kind of got used to what I fly, and I know how it behaves in the air and stuff, and I know how to build it. The process that I've got to build it is down. I know it's durable. I've smashed my frame into trees and walls and all sorts of stuff. So I just it's something that it's just a setup that I really trust, and I know it inside out.
I'm presuming it's not a super light frame then.
No, I don't actually. It's not a super light frame. It's not one of these super skinny floss frames where they're like under 300. They're like 260 grams or something. I've seen some frames. Mine is like 350, 360 grams. And then if you want to add a lipo and stuff on top of that, I don't know where, it depends on whatever lipo you add. But yeah, I'm probably like
500
compared to the guys in the States that are running these super light frames. I'm probably 70 or 80 grams heavier than their setups at the moment. I have tried a super light setup, and yeah, you can really feel the difference in the corners and stuff. But I don't know. I'm happy with my setup at the moment. I might make a few changes this year, but maybe just to lighten it up a little bit and trying to get a bit more efficiency. Because I think the I don't know. Maybe you guys know is the regulations for the for this year are going to allow for 5S and 6S.
Mental.
That's what I heard anyway.
Yeah, we've read. I've read that. Definitely need netting up at events then.
Yeah, well, as long as you quad right, you're just going to get what I like is it running 5 and 6S is it allows you to carry a GoPro and not really worry about. So my plan this year is to try and run a GoPro at every event, so I can record all the flights and get all the footage. Because otherwise, you just got DVR.
I know. I used to always run a GoPro, and then last year I didn't bother, but I didn't race too much. And then, yeah, now everyone's putting a GoPro back on. Bastards! I'm gonna have to change my setup again.
I don't think GoPros for this world much longer.
What do you mean?
Really? Well, are they looking for a buyer?
What?
I thought GoPro are looking for a buyer. They're not doing too well.
Oh.
That's what I thought.
All the millions of pounds they've earned over the years.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
Well, I mean, think about it. It's Christmas, and did they release the GoPro Hero 6 on Christmas?
Pass.
I don't think
I know it's released. I don't know if it was before Christmas.
Yeah, just before.
They lost a lot of money on the Karma drone, didn't they? Like they had to get them all back, and not only that, anyone who bought one, they sent them a free GoPro as sort of like a sorry, and now they've closed the whole drone thing. So I think you're onto something there. I think GoPro are in trouble, and especially if you look at the cameras that DJI bring out for their drones. There's way more control than a GoPro, so I think we need someone like DJI to come out with a competitor to GoPro, and that will probably wipe GoPro out with the way that it's going at the moment.
Because the other thing that GoPro have done recently was the Fusion, and from what I've heard, that's a bit sticky.
Yeah, I've got a Fusion, and it's just not ready with the software, and way too expensive. There's better. I think there's better options for much cheaper. So it's too heavy for us, so we can't use it. It's 255 grams. So I stuck it on a race quad, and it really struggled. Like I put it on a lightweight high performance thing, and yeah, it really struggled to lift it. So yeah, I think GoPro could be in trouble, and there might be someone else to come along. The problem with running a GoPro with doing races is if you crash, because they're not bulletproof, are they? Exactly. So
no.
There you go. I literally put in the successes and failures, the rise and fall of GoPro. There's 2 videos in the chat, so you guys might want to pull my links. But yeah, it's quick history. But yeah, apparently they're open to selling. There's a whole podcast on it. And that's the last thing I heard.
If you're looking for a new toy, then maybe just buy out GoPro.
And they hired JP Morgan. I think that's the last thing they did. Is that right? I don't know. I should really research stuff then. Because what happened was I started looking at that, and then all of a sudden you go on your subscriptions and they're like, DJI's released something new. And then you're just like, yeah, GoPro. But
yeah,
with regards
DJI
to
have. Sorry,
go on. You carry on.
This weighs a ton. Sorry.
I was just going to say that DJI have, definitely hit the news recently with releasing the Mavic Air. I just mentioned that so that we have it recorded for posterity that yes, it's big news.
And you know what I find really funny is that's the mid ground. The Spark looks like a toy. That's the mid ground, and the Mavic is the big expensive one.
I thought the Mavic Pro Platinum was meant to be the big expensive one. Obviously, that didn't
yeah,
work
yeah.
enough.
That's the Inspire, isn't it?
No, well, I don't know, because then you've got the Phantom Obsidian, haven't you?
Oh,
Like
there's a
they
lot of
haven't.
DJIs.
Oh yeah, they did actually release a new. Oh my god, what are we doing? Why are we talking?
Shall we?
about
Shall we
it?
ask? Shall we ask Gary if he's got any DJI models?
Have you ever touched a DJI product, Gary?
I've seen one from a distance, and I think I'll leave it at that. To be honest, I'm not interested in aerial photography or anything like that, so I can appreciate what they are and what they do, but as far as using one and wanting to have one, I'm not interested.
Right.
Last week we had on Joshua Barwell with the DJI racing stuff that he's got hold of. So you might get something at some point. Although judging by the amount of latency that's on them, not for a good while yet.
Yeah. Still a couple of years away, aren't we? From HD racing and stuff, I think.
Until someone can work out how to break physics and pump all the
Bandwidth.
Well, we flew Connects all year in the DCL, and I know we didn't fly HD. We flew in performance mode, but we were able to fly in locations that just quite frankly wouldn't be possible to have flown with analog. So I got to hand it to ProSight. They've really stepped up the game with the Connects, and it's because at first, when I first tried it quite a while back, there were problems, and there still are occasionally. You still got problems, but with the locations that we flew in this year, there's no way an analog setup would have been able to do it, and the picture quality is really, really good on the Connects now, I think.
I mean, it doesn't fade away though, does it? It just blocks out and then stops. I've seen that happen quite a lot of times.
I guess it depends on the environment that you're. I guess it depends on the environment and how you've set up the ground station and stuff. But that's the one thing, is that it can just kind of the picture can just freeze and then kind of smear back in, which that's the worst case scenario is when that happens. But thankfully we didn't experience that too often throughout the year. So
I think was it DCL at the Champs-Élysées where there was a sort of the course went down into a tunnel or something,
and the track looked nice.
That's it. I think the Champs-Élysées event was probably my least favorite event of the year, if I'm going to be honest. For the public, it was really spectacular.
Yeah.
It was something really nice for them to see, but as a pilot, it wasn't a nice event to fly in. I think they tried to push the limits of the technology too far. They needed to rein it back a little bit. So yeah, probably not my most favorite event of the year when I look back on the year. But like I say, for the public and for the spectacle of the sport, it was really good.
Yeah, it looked very impressive. But yeah, I think it was. I don't know if it was Brett Collis or someone else who was having sort of fail-safe issues and all this kind of thing of just was really pushing the edge of what everything could do.
Yeah. I appreciate what they were trying to do. They were trying to take everything to the limit, but sometimes you do take it too far. And I think when you get there, you have to recognize that and reel it back a little bit. And thankfully for the rest of the year, they did recognize that, and they realized the mistakes that they had made in Paris, and they rectified them at the rest of the events that we went to. So
what I'd heard through the grapevine was that they hadn't quite expected the Wi-Fi type noise floor to be quite as high, so there was a lot more RF going around. So if it had been in the middle of nowhere in the course, it would have been not too bad, and it would have just been doable. But with everything else that was going on the radio on the same sort of frequencies in the middle of the city, it was just a bit too much. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I if I'm going to hold an event in the middle of a major city like Paris, then I would quite frankly go there and do my homework beforehand and plan for the worst case scenario.
Yeah, but it was still an impressive looking event.
It was a very good looking event.
I also liked your what was the one in there down in the cave? Well, I think you went in the water
that
and
event. That was in Romania.
Yeah.
I went the first year, but I didn't get to go this year. I had to work, unfortunately. I couldn't get away, so I didn't. I saw the track and I saw what they did this year, and it looked fantastic. That location is so spectacular. It's like 150 meters below ground. So you travel down in a lift, and then you've got to walk down these old rickety stairs, and then it just keeps going down and down and down, and then you get to the track, and then it goes down again to the bottom of the salt lake, and to fly around that is so spectacular. It's really special to be there and fly there. That is one of my regrets for this year is not being able to make it for that event, because like I say, the location is so special.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Have you already got Shenzhen penciled in your calendar for this year?
Well, I definitely want to go back to China. I raced at the Mobile World Congress this year, and that was really good. The track was tiny, absolutely tiny. It was probably just a little bit bigger than a tiny whip track, and we were flying 5-inch around it. So it was quite a challenge, but they did a really good job. It was the first event of the year that I went to where they'd done double elimination, and I'm such a big fan of double elimination. It works so well for what we do.
Do you want to talk us through it quickly?
So basically, it's a knockout system. So, but if you lose, or if you have a technical issue, or you crash or whatever, you go into a lower, like a loser's bracket, and it's still that knockout system through the loser's bracket. And so if you lose twice, you're out, but you've always got that second chance. So if you go out in the quarterfinals, you go to the loser's bracket, and you can work your way back into the major finals.
So like Rallycross. I think Rallycross do exactly the same, isn't it?
Yeah,
pretty much the same.
It's such a good system, because like everybody knows at races or flies is that you can be taken out of the air for so many different reasons. I mean, we don't have rear view mirrors or anything, and so it's easy to crash into somebody else, and you might have a video issue that doesn't get that you don't get a rerun for. So having that kind of little buffer of being able to drop down into the loser's bracket and work your way back up, it really does help. And I think it definitely shows when you get to the final that you get the better pilots make it to the final.
Yeah.
It's not you can't get there by luck.
Yeah.
Well, it's 50% luck, 50% skill, they say.
Oh my god, that's a sheer determination of will. Sorry. Bloody, what is that band called? I can't remember. In the chat, anyone know what that is? Because didn't you take it up the butt from Mr. Cleanfly at the FPV Formula FPV event?
I did, yeah. He crashed into me.
So
yes.
I'm gonna.
I think he's in the chat. Hi, Tom.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, he was. I don't know if he's there now.
I know. I think he's setting up.
I'm 2 years on, and I've just about forgiven him for that.
The other thing, been hearing a bit more about over the past month or so is about the wing racing. Have you had any go with a wing yet?
Me?
Yeah.
Wings?
Have you
been speaking to Leo?
All right, guys,
Has Leo been on the chat? Have you been talking to Leo?
I haven't been talking to Leo at all.
I can tell by the look on your face. He's definitely messaged you with something. No, I'm not a big fan of wings, to be honest. I like my quad. I like the stable video that it gives, and whenever I see wing footage, it's just wibbly wobbly. You know, I hate it, to be honest.
That's what GoPro self-stabilize is all about. I saw someone do a long range on a beach, and it was lovely. He used it. Also, I've put a straw pole So, Gary, please vote on it. The link's in the chat. Song dedicated to Tony's love for Gary. We've got Push It to the Limit by Paul Wegman, Take My Breath Away by Berlin, or Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. So I just realised I've got like 20 minutes before the next show. So I thought, man, I better ask.
You get this man crush thing, Jack?
I don't know.
Like, you just make this thing up.
Yeah, I don't know. Gary's kind of a funny boy, but like dude, what is with your avatar on your Google? It looks nothing like you. You look like a thug in Ibiza. Like, that is not you.
I don't even know what my how do I see what my I don't even know
what you're talking right now. Present to everyone. He does. Like, how old are you and that? Like, you were definitely not in the boy band there. That made you the bad boy.
I think that actually might be Ibiza as well.
Yeah.
Either that or a really dodgy skiing trip, because you've got a bit of a weird sunglasses tan going on. You see like the white T shape on your eyebrows.
Yeah.
I guess obligatory question. Why Justice FPV? Why is that? How's that name come about?
Oh, that stems from I just used to do a lot of online gaming, and my online alias was Dr. Justice, so I just chopped off the doctor part and went with Justice, and then you just like everyone, you just add the FPV because it makes it easier to find you.
Well, Justice isn't that French band?
I have no idea.
Pass.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
We don't know, Jack.
You're just getting yourself into Thursday night show mood. That's all, Jack. No one else is following the music references.
Oh, Justice. I'm sorry. No, I said French.
Yeah, but you have to say Justice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm getting corrected. Justice. He would have wrote that in the chat, but he can't write in a fancy way because it spells justice. Dick. That's all I'm getting. I'm getting heckled. Sorry.
So what rig are you running? Beta flight, race flight? Have you tried any of the other stuff?
Yeah, I was running race flight for the longest time for well over a year, but I was running the original builds, the BB builds before race flight 1, and I just carried on flying that I was flying it until
the open one.
Yeah, the open source one. And it was a really old build of that, but it just worked, you know. I knew I could just put it on any of my quads. I knew what PIDs and rates to put in, and I hate to mess with that stuff, you know. Once I've got something that works, I just like to stick with it, you know. That's just the way I am. I'm not one of these people that change to the latest hype and jump from one thing to the next and change my rates and set up just because I've seen someone else flying really nicely, and I want to try and emulate that. I stick to what I know and what I know works. So that's why I fly the same setup for such a long time and stick with the sponsors that kind of trust me and believe in what I do.
Yeah.
Because what I fly works, and I believe in it. So yeah, going back to what you said, I flew race flight until about halfway through the year, and then they stopped maintaining the race flight build that I was running. There wasn't going to be any more development for it, and it was a bit of a pain to flash ESCs through that version of race flight. So I had the choice of either going to race flight 1 or beta flight. So I tried both of them, and to be honest with you, I just didn't want to buy like 5 new flight controllers all when I could flash beta flight on all the flight controllers that I had. And get used to that. So that's what I did. I went with beta flight and got it to I tried to make it feel the same as my old race flight builds, and it never quite. Even still now, it still doesn't quite fly the same. I don't have quite the same feeling, but I've just got used to it now, and I just enjoy it. So.
You fly underslung battery as well, don't you? Have you ever flown top bat?
Yeah, when I first started, I flew top mount battery, and I swore by it for ages and ages, and that's all I would fly. But then when frames started to get smaller, and I changed from the standard frames TSX 220 to the 200, it wasn't really feasible to put the battery on the top anymore. So I started running the battery underneath, and you just kind of get used to it. And I did try and move the battery to the top, and when I moved it to the top and then flew again, I actually didn't like it. I got so used to having the battery on the bottom that that when I went back, I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. Something's really off. So I just leave the battery on the bottom now, and just put a battery protector on the bottom like frame, and then stick with that.
Yeah. A lot of people,
but there is definitely a difference. You do feel the difference between battery on the bottom and battery on the top.
Is it because like you would come to a sudden stop and those plastic standoffs would make the battery fly off, or do you change them out for metal ones?
No, I fly plastic standoff still.
Oh my god, how does that work? I suppose you never crash though.
No, I do a lot of crashing.
Yeah, but don't you have to replace all those standoffs?
No,
That'd drive me nuts.
The thing is, I run plastic standoffs, but I have really long screws, so the screws almost go all the way through the standoff. So if you crash,
what's the point? Why don't you just have standoffs then? If it's the same amount of metal, you make no sense.
It's not really the same amount. It's not really the same amount of metal, but it just works for me. You know,
one's hollow,
I know that
one's solid. God. Oh man, this is why Tony loves you.
Do you have any
works,
rituals?
Right? I don't break a lot of stuff, so it works for me. So if it works, I stick with it.
Yeah. Do you have any rituals like wearing lucky pants or a shirt that you've always raced and won in, or anything like that?
And can Tony have it when you're done with it? No, he really does want a signed picture.
Shut up.
Can we have a signed picture to give away? Just not of the Ibiza thug. You think about releasing a calendar?
Or something like that.
It's signed props, Jack. Don't you know that?
Yeah.
You have to sign props. So you don't have any rituals or anything, or I got a lucky T-shirt I wear.
But I'll let you into a little secret. Is that when in the I think it was last winter we were at the Triangle in Brighton.
Burgess Hill.
That's it, Burgess Hill. And I went outside for some reason, and I put my fingerless gloves on, and I just kind of left them on and didn't really think about it, just because it was freezing outside. And then I flew with them on, and people started asking me, "Do you always fly with your gloves on?" And I was like, "Hold on a minute, there's an opportunity here." And I was like, "Yeah, it keeps my thumbs warm and keeps me."
Oh my god! You like those BMXers? Yeah, like specialist X-blade gloves. Oh no, next blades.
So no routines, nothing. No crazy turning the light on and off or spinning your props 10 times before you put it on the line or something like that.
Me and Tony got a ritual, not doing the props up.
Yeah.
Any lap after that's really good.
Done that
noise.
There's obviously some big names in racing, you and Luke being two biggest ones in the UK at least. Are there any hidden up and coming names that you think people should be more aware of than they really are?
Yeah, Tom Smith.
He doesn't race much though, does he?
I don't know.
I've seen him. There's a lot of racing in Manchester. Like all the racing seems to have moved from down south to up north now. They've got events what seems like every week up in Manchester, and I've seen him taking podiums and taking trophies up north. So yeah, I think he's more than just a freestyle pilot. Great guy.
He won't come on though. He's too shy. The show I've tried.
We'll get him on one day.
But there's so many good pilots now in the UK. It's like you can't just pick one. I'm not going to even try and just pick one pilot. There is literally there are dozens and dozens of amazing pilots, and they're coming through all the time. So I'm not gonna pick out one single name. I'm just gonna say that the UK's got some amazing talent, and leave it at that.
Yeah, always has had for speed. UK racing drivers and stuff. We're always really good at fast stuff. God, my voice is getting worse and worse.
Tony, you do sound like you're dying.
Thanks.
I'm enjoying this.
Brilliant.
Just drinking it in. I
This
know there was
this
some.
is because I've given up alcohol for January, you know.
Yeah, Rich said, "Oh my God, you're still ill."
Yep.
Someone else said, "Aren't you dead
Still,
yet?"
I only got
me.
ill from Sunday.
That was me in the chat.
You bastard.
That's all right. Me and the editor were arguing.
Is there any questions in there?
No.
Does anyone want a question to Gary in the chat?
Owen is pointing out that you're just following suit with Joshua Barbwell from last week, Tony.
Oh, what with the illness and the croaky
With
voice?
the voice, yeah.
Yeah.
We're playing Danger Zone again by the looks of it.
And Enoch suggested that you get some chicken soup.
Well, you know what Enoch can do with that chicken soup, don't you?
Oh yeah, that's the point. That's not very vegan, is it?
Yeah.
Boys, here's the straw poll in there for Tony's love songs, Gary.
What's doing best at the moment then?
It's Danger Zone, Kenny Loggins.
Shame we can't play it, isn't it? Yeah, look, here's M Tech tips. What tips does Gary have for someone will start racing? I think he's trying to say. Any tips?
Is that for someone that's never flown before? So just kind of learning to fly, or just trying to get into racing? If you're just learning to fly, get yourself on a simulator. The simulators, they're still not perfect, but they're so good to kind of get your muscle memory and your fingers used to making the right motions, so that when you transfer across to flying a real quad, it's almost be second nature. You don't really think about it anymore. You know what your fingers know what to do. You've just got a different view.
Muscle memory.
You've got the muscle memory. You're just kind of getting used to what you see in the world is actually real now. It's not on your PC screen. So yeah, definitely. If you're starting out, get yourself on a simulator, because it's invaluable. Like when we started, there were no simulators. So went through a lot of props, a lot of broken quads, broken parts. And I envy anyone that's getting into it now and can just spend a lot of time on the simulator before smashing stuff up.
Yeah, we were hardcore, weren't we, Gary? Blood FPV. There's what motors does Gary run?
I run a T-Motor at the moment. I'm still running the T-Motor. They've got the new T-Motor Pro F42s are out at the moment, but I'm still running the original F40 Pro and the F60 Pro. I'm sticking with the F60 Pro at the moment because they can take 5S, and like I say, I really enjoy flying 5S at the moment. Like I say, I can stick a camera on and not have to worry about
the extra weight.
Yeah, the extra weight and the voltage sag as well. You've got the same power all the way until you get to the end. You don't have this kind of gradual rundown of the pack, or suddenly you hit a minute and a half and you fall out of the sky. You know that you can come in at like just under 2 minutes and that's it, and you're going to have the same power and performance throughout the flight. So yeah, so I'm running the F60 Pros. I have got the newer F60 Pro 2s on one of my setup as a prototype. But yeah, those guys are my sponsor, and they've supported me, and they've worked with me to help develop those motors over the last two years. Nice. So they're really, really good people as well. I've met them quite a few times, Anki and Vivian. They're such nice people, and like whenever I see them, they treat you as part of the family. It's not just they're not just a sponsor. They're actually really good people. Yeah, I'm really glad to be on board with those guys. They've looked after me.
Yeah, they
Thank
look
you.
nice. Richard Smythe, who gave me this cold, I think, on Sunday, says, where does Gary want to see the hobby go?
Well, I think like most people, it'd be nice to see it on TV a bit more. But I think a lot of these big leagues are not doing what needs to be done to kind of make it into a proper sport, whereas they're kind of promoting the racing itself, whereas I think people get like, well, if I watch F1 or MotoGP or something like that, I'm invested in the rider or the driver, you know, and I want to hear their story and what they're up to. I'm not like, the racing's great, but I'm interested in the story behind that, like the like I say, the driver or the rider. And I haven't seen any of the leagues kind of trying to do that, trying to promote the pilots themselves and give you their story. Because once you're interested in the pilot, then I think you can get more interested in the racing. So I like to see one of the leagues or somebody go down that direction rather than just pure racing.
Richard Hart, has Gary flown any of the X-Class squads? Do you fancy flying any of the X-Class stuff? Have you seen any of that?
Is that the stuff that's over a meter?
Yeah,
a meter. I haven't actually flown any of that stuff. I think I've seen it fly, but I haven't flown any myself. I'd like to give it a go, but I'm not sure whether the flight controller software or the technology is quite there yet to have a smooth flight like what we have on our 5 and 6 inch quads. I think from what I have seen, it's still quite a lot of jello and a lot of vibrations from the huge, like what I saw was like 8-inch props with huge motors and stuff. But I just don't think the flight control software is there or the technology is there right now. I know a lot of people want to see the bigger quads, but I think we need to wait for the technology to catch up before we start pushing that.
Well, the only way is to get people out flying them, really, isn't it? And then people get interested, and then stuff will
hopefully happen. Maybe we can use up the entirety of somewhere like Sebring or Silverstone or somewhere like that and use the entire course. It'd be quite fun.
Right, guys, I've got to go.
Yeah,
well,
you've not got long, have you, Jack?
Yeah. I've got less than a minute. Shall I call it there, or are you guys going to carry on?
Oh, that's cool. I'll call it there because
Tony hasn't got much voice left, so now's a good time to call it.
Yeah.
He just wants you to know that, Gary, if there's anyone who's going to waste it on, it would be you.
He's such a bad. Sorry, Gary.
I love Gary. Can take it, man. He's one of the lads. Like, the thing is, he's been there from the beginning. You know what I mean? It's like he knows better than anyone this show.
He knows you're an idiot.
Yeah, it's so good to see Andy RC.
Hello, goodbye.
Thanks, Andy.
It's been a pleasure, Frank.
Thank you.
Do you want to say anything about Mini Air Show and how you need volunteers?
Oh yeah, everyone, come along to Mini Air Show. If you want to bring a team and do some flying, let me know. If you want to help out running things on the day, there's plenty of things that need doing. Otherwise, there will be a website appearing shortly.
Cool.
At miniairshow.co.uk.
Thank you, Gary, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. It's good chatting to you again.
Thank you for having me.
Sorry I couldn't see you blush, but I know deep inside,
my cheeks are red. Trust me.
Oh, bless. All right, and my wife, Tony.
Au revoir.
He said au revoir instead of bonjour.
Oh no, just to trick you, Jack.
Yep. Where does Gary want to see the hobby go? Has Gary got phones? Yeah, no worries. Right, sorry, just making sure that we've covered everything. And I've been Bright Until I Fly. Thank you everyone for subscribing and the Patreon and everything else. Don't forget we have got a Patreon. If you're listening to this on iTunes, please go to the Patreon. And if any of you do listen, please rate us on iTunes as well. We've had 15 reviews and we're 5 stars. Thank you.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
So, yeah, we're doing well. Right, I've got to go.
Thanks very much.
Thursdaysnightshow.com is where Jack can be found shortly.
Yeah, hang on. Post it. Should we post it in the link? They're probably wondering where
Thank
the
you,
hell I
everyone,
am.
and good night.